Hello, you the one who's listening. Maybe right now you're sitting alone in a quiet room with soft light spilling in through the window. Maybe you turned on this channel just to find a little peace after a long day. Or maybe something invisible, something you can't quite name, led you here. But trust me on this, nothing is random. Whenever your soul brings you to these words, it's because there's a message waiting. A message not meant just for your ears, but for your heart to feel. Tonight, I invite you to sit down, take a deep breath, let go of the noise, and allow every word, every breath of this story to settle into you. Because what I'm about to say isn't just a collection of words. It's a doorway, a passage into a deeper layer of your life, where secrets still sleep, where invisible threads are quietly weaving your destiny, and where a soft light long hidden is getting ready to rise. There are days when you feel heavy and you don't even know why. It's not the job, not society, not even a specific sadness. It's something else. You step outside and the wind feels different. You glance at a stranger's eyes and your heart quietly sinks. That's not a coincidence. That's your soul trying to speak, softly like a breath but deeper than any words. And for you, Aquarius, those signs have never been just random. You're not imagining things. You've been called here to prepare for something important. A moment that could shift the way you see the world and the way you see yourself. What's coming isn't just a life event, it's a soul movement. A loss, not in the way we usually think about loss, but the quiet departure of a bond that once ran deep. This person, they're not just a face in a memory. They are your roots, someone who's held you up, nurtured you, protected you, even when you didn't realize it. They touched your heart in a way no one else ever could, and long after they're gone, you'll realize your life, the way you love, the way you stand, is still built upon what they gave you. You may not think of them every day. Life gets busy, full of to-do lists, plans, responsibilities, but your soul hasn't forgotten. It remembers their warmth, their eyes, their presence. Maybe it was a hand that shielded you as a child, a voice that comforted you through sleepless nights, or someone who quietly stepped into the shadows so that you could shine in the light. And now, your soul senses that this presence is about to shift into another form, like a stream that splits into a new path, still flowing toward the same sea. If you're hearing these words and feel something stir deep in your chest, like an invisible string being gently pulled, that's your sign. You're ready to face what's coming, to understand it, to turn that pain into a piece of your healing journey. And before we move forward, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like someone was whispering to you, even though they were no longer here? A voice in a dream, a passing glance that felt too familiar, a touch that could have been the wind? If so, share your story in the comments, because sometimes your story becomes someone else's confirmation, and their story, it might be the guiding light you've been needing. So let these words move through you like a stream, gentle but deep, cool but clear, because when you listen with your heart, you'll realize this isn't just a message, it's an invitation into a space where the visible and the invisible meet, where sorrow and love coexist, where loss is not an ending but the beginning of something far more profound. And in that quiet moment, you'll start to notice the signals, the ones the ordinary world cannot explain, subtle yet unmistakable, soft yet powerful. And those signals will lead you even deeper into the story your soul has long been waiting to hear. And then, from the very moment you sensed that something was drawing near, the signals began to appear, not loud, not obvious, but deep enough to make you pause right in the middle of your busy, noisy life. It might be a fleeting dream, soft and hazy, but it lingers. You see them, standing somewhere peaceful. They say something you can't quite grasp, and then fade into a gentle light. Or maybe it's an old song, playing just when you're too tired to go on, and each lyric unlocks a door in your memory you thought had long been sealed. Sometimes it's simply walking into an empty room and feeling the warmth of something or someone surrounding you, even though no one's there. Moments like these, many people call them coincidence, but you and I, we know better. Nothing is ever random when the soul begins to speak, because when a soul is preparing to leave the body, it doesn't just vanish into silence. It leaves behind traces, a breath, A farewell, spoken not with words but through waves of energy that only the heart can understand. And maybe you've already felt that, not with your mind but in your body, like a child walking through darkness, who knows somehow there's a hand watching over them even if they can't see it. You see, before a soul departs this world, they don't slam the door shut and disappear. No, they quietly step back, slowly, delicately, leaving behind threads of love, woven into the spaces you live in. A memory you thought you'd forgotten comes flying back like a migrating bird returning to its place of origin. An old item falls from a drawer. A familiar scent drifts through the air. A burst of laughter echoes in your mind, as clear as the day it first happened. But they don't do this to hurt you. They do it so you don't have to face the emptiness alone, so you remember you were and are still loved. They are slowly opening the inner gate within you, the one that lets you see no farewell is ever final. I once heard someone say, death is not the end, it's just the transformation of love. When the body is gone, love finds another way to stay. And if you listen closely, truly listen, you'll realize they never really left. They're still here, invisibly, silently, like a breath against your ear, like a light at the edge of a dream, like a quiet knowing you can't quite explain, but never doubt. So if you've ever woken up in the middle of the night, tears on your pillow from a dream about someone you've lost, please don't dismiss it. Write it down. Remember every detail, because maybe, just maybe, it wasn't just a dream. It was a reunion, a meeting in the deepest space of the soul. And if you feel called, share that dream in the comments. Not to prove anything, not to be understood, but simply to offer yourself the gift of remembering. Because in doing that, you open a doorway between two worlds that were never truly apart. And once you begin to acknowledge these signs, the miracle begins to unfold. You'll start to see, they always knew, that their time here was drawing to a close, and instead of leaving you with nothing, they quietly began to prepare something for you. A gift, a message, a final note, one you can only receive when your heart has become still enough and deep enough to understand it. We're about to step into that space where memory meets intuition, where the legacy of a departing soul is passed down, not through words but through everything that cannot be named. Sometimes, a soul knows it can't stay, but still, they want to leave behind something for the one they love to hold on to, something to lean on to keep going. Not to cling, not to keep you stuck in sadness, but to whisper, even if I'm no longer here, my love for you as my child, as my partner, as my dearest, will find another way to reach your heart. And so they leave a gift, not flashy, not expensive. In fact, at first, you might not even notice it. An old book collecting dust on a shelf, a folded piece of paper with faded handwriting, a worn-out scarf knitted during long winter nights, or maybe just a story they once told, one that felt ordinary at the time. But one day, when they're no longer around, those little things suddenly come alive. You pick up that book and find a page with the corner folded. You reread the note and it feels like a prophecy. You hold an old photo and tears begin to fall, not out of sorrow, but because in that moment, you know, they were preparing you for this all along. They didn't leave you empty-handed. They didn't abandon you in the desert. They planted a seed and waited for you to find it. I once met a woman who found a small box of letters in her late mother's suitcase, more than 30 letters never sent. Each one, a story from days when her mother stayed silent but kept writing. She told me, I read every word, and it felt like she was sitting right next to me, whispering in her own voice. In those letters, she found the apology that was never spoken, the dreams her mother once held and had to let go, and the forgiveness she didn't even know she'd been waiting for. You see, soul gifts aren't just objects. They're pieces of an ongoing conversation, one that death cannot interrupt. They're keys leading you back to a deeper version of yourself, one that knows how to love and how to hold sacred what truly matters. I believe in every goodbye, there's a final message that goes unspoken, because words fade, but the soul remembers in silence. And if you're gentle enough, if you slow down just a little, you'll feel it. That gift might be right in front of you, an old voice recording, a ring you wear without knowing why, a phrase someone once repeated like a habit. Don't overlook it, because hidden in those tiny things might be their final message about love, not the loud kind, but the kind that lives on long after the last breath. And I want to ask you, have you ever received a gift from someone who's no longer here, but only understood its meaning much later? If so, you can share it in the comments, because your story might just be the gift another wandering soul needs to find. And one day, you'll hold that gift in your hands and something will stir within you. Your hands might tremble, your eyes might sting, and inside, something will break open, melt, and then be reborn. You're not the same person anymore. No longer the one who blamed life for taking away someone you loved. You've become something new, a soul awakened. One who knows what's lost is never all there is, because from that very loss, something sacred within you has just been set free. And once that sacred part opens, you'll begin to see the world differently. You won't run from pain anymore. You'll learn to walk through it like stepping through fire to reach the light. There are moments in life when you hold something in your hands, keepsake, a memory, and right then, you know you've just crossed an invisible threshold. No sound, no witness, but something inside you shifts and you're no longer the same. Pain, when we allow it to come close, does more than make us cry. It strips away our worn-out defenses, shakes loose the beliefs we outgrew, reveals what we thought mattered but never truly did, and then quietly, it lights a new flame, not one that blinds you, but just enough to help you see the path ahead, a path you never dared to take before. Aquarius, you are the flow of water, the breath of wind. You were never meant to stand still. You are movement itself. So when the universe chose you to walk through loss, it wasn't punishment. It was a sacred rite of passage meant to raise you into a higher version of yourself. You won't see the world the same again. No longer asking, why did this happen to me? But instead, what is this here to teach me? You'll stop rushing through pain and start wondering, how deep can I grow in this? You'll begin to see even the smallest moments with gratitude, as if every breath were a miracle given. I still remember a man who lost the woman he loved after 30 years together. He once said something I've never forgotten. I lost the person I loved most, but in that very moment I found myself. I learned to love her in a different way, through action, through kindness, through living the rest of my life the way she always wanted me to. His pain didn't break him. It transformed him into a husband who kept loving his wife even after she was gone. And I believe you carry that same strength within you, not the kind of strength that pretends to be fine, but the kind that lets itself fall apart so it can be reborn. You will slowly walk out of the dark, not because you have to, but because something inside you has started to glow. We aren't born to last forever, but we are born to leave something behind, a kind act, a gentle word, a warm mark in someone's heart. And when a loved one leaves, they teach us this in the deepest way possible, through their absence. If you've ever lost someone and found yourself completely changed, not just broken, but deepened, then you're living in alignment with your soul. You can share your experience in the comments, because your story might become a light for someone still wandering in the dark with no map in hand. You see, pain is not just fire that burns, it's also the torch that lights the way, and sometimes it leads you to a place you never dared to imagine, a place where you finally face yourself. No illusions, no roles to play. But to get there, you must pass through one more thing, something every soul must walk through before it steps fully into the light: a deep stillness, a space where words are no longer enough, where only breath remains and presence, a silent realm where the old self fades away and a new form quietly begins to take shape from the inside out. Silence, it's something many people fear, but for the soul, it's the place where rebirth begins. After the storms of emotion have passed, after the tears have fallen, after the heart has cracked just enough for light to enter, you begin to feel something strange. You don't want to see anyone, you don't want to talk, you don't want to do anything. You're not sad, but you're not exactly happy either. You just know you need space. It's like the whole world has become too loud, too sharp, and all you want is to pull back, to be still, to drift, to be alone. But that's not running away, it's not weakness. It's a sacred ritual of the soul when it knows it's about to become something entirely new. Just like the caterpillar curled up inside its cocoon, it's no longer a caterpillar, but not yet a butterfly. It can't fly, but it also can't go back. There's only one thing left to do. Keep going, stay inside. Inside the dark. Inside the tight, quiet space. No one else can understand, because in that stillness, transformation is happening every second. Aquarius, maybe you are in that cocoon right now. You don't know where you're headed. You don't recognize yourself in the mirror. The things that once lit you up now feel distant. The people who once felt close now fall silent, and you start to wonder, am I lost? No, you're not lost. You're returning to your core, to what's real underneath all the noise, the roles, the expectations that were never truly yours. I want you to remember this. You're not broken. You're not wrong. You are exactly where you need to be, inside yourself. In today's world, people fear loneliness. They drown it in work, in endless scrolling and fleeting pleasures. But you, Aquarius, you carry the soul of a healer. And deep down, you know, it's in those quiet moments, when no one else understands you, when it's just you and the universe, that your soul speaks the loudest. You might feel exhausted, heavy in your body. Your dreams may be vivid, strange, full of symbols. Don't resist it. Don't try to go back to normal. Because something old is dying, and something new, a brighter, higher version of you, is preparing to be born. I believe every soul must go through this, at least once in life. And if you're in that space now, I invite you to share your feelings, your story, or even just a single line of what you're experiencing. Because somewhere out there, another soul is cocooning too, and your words might be the thread that connects you both. Because in the end, the cocoon, as dark and cramped as it may feel, is only a bridge, a pause before something greater. And one day you'll wake up, look at the world and feel like something's different. But the truth is, you are. You no longer react the same. You stop trying so hard to be understood. You begin to live like someone who has touched pain and made it through with kindness. When you finally emerge from your cocoon, there won't be applause, no fireworks, but there will be something holier, a deep peace in your chest, and the way your eyes see the world, softer, brighter, and filled with gratitude. And when you begin to live with those new wings, you'll understand you weren't just healed, you were made to heal others too. And then, when you finally emerge from that cocoon carrying your new wings, the first thing you feel isn't the sky, it's someone else's pain. You notice a person sitting quietly in the corner of a cafe, and something in their eyes mirrors a loss you once carried. You hear someone talking about their family, and your heart tightens, not because of their story, but because something buried inside you suddenly stirs. And strangely, you don't pull away, you don't flinch. You just feel this quiet urge to do something small, something gentle, just enough to let them know they are not alone. That's the moment you stop living only for yourself. A part of your soul has awakened, a part that's always been there, just waiting for the right moment to finally speak. You begin to understand every wound you ever carried had a purpose, not to break you, but to shape you into someone who can step into the pain of others without drowning in it. You can simply be there. No fixing, no preaching, just presence, and that presence, rooted in truth and experience, is the greatest gift you have to offer. Aquarius, you are a soul born to heal, not through titles, not through perfect words, but through the journey you've lived. Your empathy now isn't just a feeling, it's a power, a gift. The loss you once survived has become the bridge between love and action. Every time you help someone stand up again, every time you truly listen, every time you hold someone without needing them to explain, you are quietly saying thank you to the soul that once left you, because it was their departure that brought you here. It was their goodbye that opened this path, and now, you know, you don't have to get over the pain to forget them. You simply have to transform it into a light that can be shared. I once heard someone say, after losing their father, "I'll never forget him." But instead of living in pain, I use that love to raise my children to be kinder, to teach my students with the same patience he gave me. And I believe you can do the same if you ever found your true purpose. After a major loss, tell your story not to be admired, but because somewhere out there someone is lost, and one word from you might help them find their way back. Every person you help from now on is a quiet, sacred thank you to the soul who once said goodbye. And the most beautiful part is, you're not alone in this journey, because after everything, there's one truth you might not have realized yet: they never left you. They simply changed form so they could walk beside you in a way you can't see but will always feel. There are strange moments that often come after someone has left. Small things that reason alone just can't explain. You hear their name in the most unexpected places. A news story, a passing ad, a stranger's voice in a crowd. You walk into a room and a familiar scent brushes past you, so soft, yet so unmistakably theirs. You hear an old song and tears rise as if someone gently pressed their hand against your heart. That's not imagination, that's presence. It's how they find their way back to you. Not through the body, but through the soul. They become a part of the air around you, a part of your intuition, a part of the light behind your eyes. And even though you can't reach out and touch them, you can feel they're still here, watching, walking beside you, loving you in silence. They show up when you do something kind, when you choose compassion over anger, when you finally visit that place you both used to dream about, when you achieve something you once thought was impossible. They're no longer just someone from your past. They are alive, in your present, and always will be. And if you get still enough, truly still, you might hear something. Not with your ears, but with your heart. A whisper, "Don't be afraid, I'm still here." You don't need to call their name every day, but you'll feel them in every brave decision, in every moment you choose to live more honestly, in every time you reach out to lift someone who's fallen. They are the quiet voice in your chest, the faith you hold on to when the world doesn't make sense, the dream that pulls you forward when your logic gives up. And they, even though they've gone, are still an inseparable part of you, a guardian, a soul that never stopped loving, a light, soft but eternal. Thank you, dear soul with the heart of an Aquarius, for walking with me through this journey. I know this isn't an easy path, but if you've listened this far, I believe you are already changing, quietly, deeply. I don't know who you've lost or what you've had to let go of, but I do know this: you're still here, still breathing, still loving, and that is something truly beautiful. From my heart to yours, I wish you stillness, to hear your soul clearly. I wish you courage to keep going, and I wish you gentleness, to notice the light even in your darkest days, because you are never truly alone. You're simply being guided from a place so near where love has never left.